Hi everybody, it's Laura from Green Tree. I am out in front of the co-op again today because it is beautiful out again in our cool little seating area that we have because why not? Why not be outside and enjoying the sunshine? Today we're talking about the food web. So the food web is kind of the larger system and all of the interconnected steps that it takes to get something from the ground all the way to your table. So I'm going to use the example of a hamburger because this really plays into a lot of the different parts of the food web. So let's say you get a bare bones hamburger somewhere. Just a burger with some ketchup on a bun. Nothing else, right? You get three things there, right? No, there's a whole lot more to that process. So let's think just about the burger first. So you're starting with something like this, just basic hamburger. And you're adding a whole lot of seasonings. Depending on the place, there might be some other fillers or binders to it as well. And this is getting cooked by a person and served to you, possibly by a whole other separate person. So in order to get just this burger on your table, we're starting out with 2 or 3 people in the actual restaurant where you're getting it. Somebody who's cooking it, somebody who's serving it, probably somebody who's washing utensils and dishes afterwards. And so there's all of the water that's associated with that. And then going backwards, all right, so this is going to come from a cow, assuming this is a beef burger. That cow is going to need to be fed. It's going to need to be watered. It'll probably receive some kind of medical care. So you're including the farmers in that equation. You're including the water that the cow is drinking, the grain that it is eating. Well, and once you're including grain, you're also going to include the water that it takes to grow that, the fertilizer that's being applied to the grains, and there's the workers who are working in the fields where the grain is grown. So that's just for the burger. Hi, Trinity. I got a little shout out there. So we're starting just with the burger. Well, we also have a bun. We have a bun that burger is on. Now this is going to be grain too. When you're going into this, you're getting the grain that the burger is made from. There's yeast, there's probably sugar, maybe eggs or dairy, sweeteners to it, and all of those are going through those same steps. Where does the seed come from that this is grown from? How about the people that are planting it, harvesting it, processing it? Oh, and that's another thing with the burger. There's a whole step of processing where you go from the cow to the burger, and there are people that are working in that facility. Now, ketchup. Okay, so you think ketchup's pretty simple, right? Not exactly. In order to have ketchup, you need a tomato. So where's the tomato grown? Who's planting the tomato? Who's picking the tomato? The tomato is then being sent to a factory where it's being cooked and processed into a tomato paste or concentrate. And then you're also going to need to add sugar to that. The sugar is coming from somewhere else, probably even further away, because sugar's not something, cane sugar is not something that really grows around here. You may be able to get beet sugar that's grown in your area, but then the question is, whoops, sorry guys, I knocked the camera. But then the question is, how were those beets produced? Beets are often GMO. So there's a whole other set of steps that goes into that, where there's a place where these seeds are being produced and patented. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of steps. And when you're eating a hamburger, whether or not you think about it, every little penny, every fraction of a cent that goes into making that hamburger is paying somebody along this chain, is affecting the environment, is affecting people's quality of life, and is affecting the ultimate quality of the product that you end up eating at the end. So that's why you'll often see pretty big price differences depending on how ingredients are sourced in an end product. So next time you're going and you're getting something in a restaurant or cooking something in a store, this is part of the reason that local matters. So if you're getting a tomato, and it's early for tomatoes here, so this one, let's see, we're still getting tomatoes. Even our organic tomatoes are still coming from Mexico because, oh, something's happening over there. I'm not sure what it is. Let's try and pretend we're not hearing the sirens. So our tomatoes are still coming from Mexico this time of year, even though they're certified organic. But when you're getting something that is local, when you're getting something that's Michigan grown, and that applies to your meats, that applies to your breads, it applies to your tomatoes, you're getting something where some of those steps at least have been condensed down, and you're not as far removed on this massive web of connections as you are when you're getting something that is mass produced and made somewhere further away from you. So it's just something interesting to think about when you are getting food at a restaurant, when you're getting food at the grocery store, to think throughout this whole process of making the food, producing the food, and bringing it to your table, to the shelf where you're picking it up from. What exactly is the process that's happening there? It's also just an interesting exercise in perspective to think about, hey, you know, where does this come from, and how many people have contributed to this meal that I'm eating today? So next time you're kind of curious about your food, I challenge you to step down through the parts of the food web and say, how much went into this? How many people had a part in this? And how far and wide is my influence when I choose what I'm going to eat? So that's my little 2 cents on the food web. If you have any questions about how that process works, I would always love to hear them. You know, I love to talk about food, and hopefully we'll see you down here at the co-op soon. Happy Tuesday, everybody.